Under the glow of a crimson dawn, the salty breeze swept across a small coastal village in Nigeria. Nets slashed against the shore as fishermen prepared for the day's labor. Among them was Kofi, a stoic man with hands worn from years of toil, and his 13-year-old daughter, AFI. Despite her youth, AFI had already learned the rhythms of fishing life, deftly repairing torn nets and paddling the small wooden canoe with her father. AFI was no ordinary child. Her mind brimmed with questions and curiosity, though her days were consumed by labor. Every morning, as she helped her father set the nets, she would gaze longingly at the village school perched atop the hill. The sound of children's laughter and the faint echoes of lessons filtered down to the beach, tantalizing her. In the evenings, while her father counted their meager catch, AFI would sit under the old baobab tree, scribbling numbers and letters into the sand with a stick. She had no books, no pencils, and no formal education, but her mind was sharp. Often, she would sneak near the school's windows to listen to the lessons. The teacher, Madam Rose, noticed her and would sometimes slip her scraps of paper filled with arithmetic problems or stories. "You've got a sharp mind, AFI," Madam Rose once whispered when she caught her hiding behind a bush. "You don't belong here. You belong in a classroom." But dreams didn't come cheap, and Kofi couldn't afford to send AFI to school. After her mother's death years ago, his fishing income barely kept food on the table. The guilt of watching his daughter's potential go to waste gnawed at him, but the crushing weight of poverty left him no options. One fateful evening, Kofi sat silently by the fire, staring into the flickering flames. "AFI," he began, his voice heavy. "I've done my best, but I can't give you the life you deserve. There's a man. A fisherman from the next village. He's willing to marry you." AFI froze, the stick in her hand snapping in two. "Mary." "But, Papa, I'm just a child. I want to learn, to go to school." Kofi's face crumpled. "I know, my child. But life isn't fair. He can provide for you in ways I can't." The words felt like stones falling on her heart. She wanted to scream, to protest, but she saw the sorrow in her father's eyes. The next week, she was married off to a man nearly 3 times her age, a fisherman named Kwame. Her dreams of school seemed to drift further out to sea. Life in Kwame's house was harsh. AFI was expected to cook, clean, and work in the fields. Her spirit, however, remained unbroken. One day, while walking to fetch water, she encountered Madam Rose on the road. The teacher's eyes widened when she saw Afi's disheveled state. "You're too young for this life, AFI," Madam Rose said, her voice trembling. "You should be in school, not chained to this." Tears spilled down Afi's cheeks. "Help me, madam. Please. I can't stay here." Madam Rose made a bold decision. That night, she sneaked into Kwame's compound and whisked AFI away, hiding her in a small room behind the school. "We'll figure something out," Madam Rose promised. "There's a regional school competition in Cape Coast next week. I want you to enter." "But I've never been to school," AFI protested. "Your mind is sharper than most. Trust me, you can do this." The days leading up to the competition were grueling. Madam Rose drilled AFI on mathematics, reading, and writing. Afi's natural intelligence shone through, and by the time they traveled to Cape Coast, she was ready. The event was hosted in a grand hall, with cameras broadcasting it live across the region. Afi's heart raced as she stepped onto the stage, facing competitors from well-funded schools. The first round was arithmetic. The moderator posed a complex problem, and the crowd gasped as AFI solved it within seconds. The second round tested vocabulary, and Afi's answers left the audience in awe. By the final round, she was tied with a boy from an elite private school. The final question was announced: what is the square root of 289? Afi's mind worked quickly. 17, she answered confidently. The hall erupted in applause as the judges declared her the winner. Tears streamed down Afi's face as she held the trophy high. Back in her village, a crowd had gathered around the Soul television at the local bar. When Afi's name was announced as the champion, the villagers erupted into cheers. The next morning, AFI and Madame Rose returned to the village. Kofi was waiting for her at the shore, his face a mix of pride and shame. "My daughter," he said, pulling her into an embrace. "I was wrong to sell your dreams short. I'll do whatever it takes to ensure you go to school." AFI smiled through her tears. "It's not too late, Papa. Together, we can make it." The competition win brought attention to Afi's plight. A local philanthropist offered to sponsor her education, and Madame Rose ensured she enrolled in one of the best schools in the region. Afi's journey was far from over, but she had proven that even the strongest tides couldn't drown a determined soul. And so, Afi's story became a beacon of hope for her village, reminding everyone that dreams, no matter how distant, could be reached with courage and perseverance.